quite often I forget to hit record on these things, so I'm proud of myself. I remembered to do that.
Good job, Kat.
Thanks.
I've got my big old sticky note on my computer, too.
Yep, I've got a big message right here so that I don't forget. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and just welcome everybody to the win, lose, or draw session. And I'm hoping that you'll consider, if you want, turn on your webcam. If you want, turn on your microphone if you have something that you want to share or talk about as I go through this. And I can also turn it over so that you can share your screen if you have something that you want to show the group. So I'll just go ahead and get started. I chose this topic for kind of a specific reason. As our district is getting ready for a one-to-one initiative, and we're going to have approximately 9,000 student devices going out the door, I wanted to push myself to look at tools that maybe we are not using as much right now, and to make the connections to some of our curriculum agendas for the coming years. And Google Drawings is one of those parts of the G Suite package that tends to be underutilized. And so I have a little chart down here. We had done a survey of our staff, and what you'll see is that of all of our G Suite applications, Google Drawings is definitely the most neglected of those tools. And we also are doing a lot of work in our district around thinking maps, which is a metacognitive strategy that uses graphic organizers to look at various thinking. And somebody just came in, and I'm going to mute you for a second here, if I can find you on here, because you're just got a little too much background noise, so I'm just going to do that real quickly. Thinking maps is something that I'm still learning about, because it's different from just some of the graphic organizers that we may be used to. There's similarities, but the approach is really around giving students some models for thinking about their thinking. And so if you want to learn more about thinking maps, I did put a link here under why I wanted to facilitate the topic. Again, this is still a journey for me. So like I said here, I'm not a Google Drawings expert. I'm definitely learning all the time about how to facilitate Google Drawings better. I've definitely worked with teachers and students using Google Drawings and had some success, but part of it too is that a lot of the districts that I've worked in had iPads, and as we're transitioning away from iPads to Chromebooks, there's more incentive now to use Google Drawings, since Google Drawings never worked on the iPads. So some of the things that I've kind of brought to the table as part of how we're going to interact, I've got a cheat sheet that we'll take a quick look at. This generic mind mapping template that Keith Tramper put together, we'll talk a little bit about that. And then got some different links to some examples. And then what I'd like us to do here in a few minutes is we're going to just do a quick draw challenge, so that I want us to all go, hopefully, and try to just do a quick drawing for specific reasons, so we can kind of come back and debrief and talk about this tool and what we like about it, and what maybe is a little, what in my mind is maybe a little clunky about it, and how we support teachers and students in using it. And then I'd like to turn it over to you guys to share some of your ideas and resources. And we've got a space down here for collaborative notes, so you can pop something in there at any point. And then just to point out again, if you're here in the session, down at the very bottom where it says drawing check-in, at any point just come and pop your name in the list, and I can use that then to do the drawing at the end. I have 3 Amazon gift cards, and I'll do a drawing from each of these 3 things. So I'll do a random drawing from from anyone who submits their drawing link. I'll do a random drawing from anyone who shares a resource, and then I'll do a random drawing at the end from the whole group. So that's how we'll be interacting today. And if you have questions, you can try the hand raising tool and see if that will notify me. We found, as we've been doing some testing, that didn't work real well. So you can always just interrupt or type something into the chat, and I'll be monitoring those pieces. So, without further ado, I just wanted to take this Google Drawing cheat sheet. I think it's always handy just to have a quick printable that you can give to teachers and students. And this was one that I found that to me was pretty clear and easy to use from the shakeuplearning.com website. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking at it. I just think sometimes in our role, whether you're in the classroom and you're trying to teach students how to use this tool, or you're at that district level and you're training teachers and students, or that regional level, I find myself inventing a lot of these tip sheets, and it's always nice when somebody's made one that is good and doesn't need to be reworked. So just showing that as something we can use. So the next thing, I like this generic mind mapping template that Keith Tramper put together, and I'll go and open this up and show you a little bit about why I like it. So when you click on the link, it's going to bring it to you as a view only. So you would have to make a copy before you can use it. So I'm going to just do that really quickly. And you can send students to this and have them make a copy. Or if you're using Google Classroom, of course, you can distribute a working template that students don't have to make a copy and rename and share back to you. So Google Classroom, we'll talk about that a little bit as kind of a strategy for getting these Google Drawings out to students. I like that over here you've got some quick links to formatting help and how to use the document or how to use this template. And then the directions over here for holding the control key or the command key, so that rather than just dragging the object over and it disappears or is used up once, if I hold the control key and drag it in, I can replicate or clone the different objects and bring them in. So I think that this has some real simplified ways of interacting with Google Drawings that are preset rather than always having to go up to the toolbar, which is something that I like. Having a title that's already got the font sizes and bold and et cetera kind of preset, so that we can just get to the work of putting our concepts and ideas in here. So with that, I'm going to go back to the challenge. So what I'd like you to do is, here where it says the Quick Draw Challenge, your prompt is Dream Vacation. And we're going to take 5 minutes. You can use that template that I just showed you. So if you want to click on that and use the template as part of how you would make your drawing, you can do that. If you want to just open a brand new blank Google drawing, you can do that as well. And then you are going to make a drawing of your dream vacation, however you would like to explore this, and then share the link here in the Quick Draw Challenge box. While we're taking that 5 minutes, just in case somebody's not playing along at home, I'm going to go through and sort of be thinking aloud as I'm doing my drawing. So it's 9:08. At 9:13, you need to submit your drawing. So go. And I will go over into my Google Drawing, and I will tell you, you'll learn a little bit about me, and I'll talk a little bit about my dream vacation as we're doing this. So one of the things about Google Drawings that I don't like as much is if I just want to draw kind of a scribble line, it's hard to find that. So I have to go to the line tool and go down to the scribble option. And the way that the Scribble tool works for me is, you know, it's okay. It's not my favorite. So I'm going to, I just wanted to point that out as part of this as I'm doing my dream vacation here. I'm going to click on the Select tool, and I'm going to put my title up at the top. So, my dream vacation, if I could spell, is Mackinac Island. And I have family connection to Mackinac Island. I'm able to generally go up and visit every summer, and my family gathers there. And I get to spend more time on the island than many people would normally get. I don't have to go for a week. I usually get to go for about a month. And it's a fantastic place for my kids to kind of unplug, and for myself to unplug and to spend some time in nature. So one of the things that I think students need to know about is this image tool, where they can do a search and find actual images for their drawings. So I'm going to type in Mackinac Island, and I'm going to bring in this map here. Now, I'm curious how some of you are handling things like citation and Creative Commons. If we do a Google image search within the Google tools, these are Creative Commons licensed images generally. What I'm starting to share with students is to save this link, or to click on that link so that they can actually go to it before they add it into whatever, whether it's a Google Doc or Google Slides. And then I'm actually using an extension, and we'll see if it will pop up here. It's called Open Attribute, and what it will do is that it will look for the usage information about a document and give you Creative Commons formatted information so that you can share it properly. So I'm going to see if it will light up. Sometimes it doesn't light up for everything, and it will take a second. I don't know if anybody else is using any tools like this. But at the very least, helping students to save the links to their images and being in compliance with you know, citation and copyright, etc. So I'm going to take a normal text box, and just for purposes of citation, I'm going to copy my link in there. I know that that's not fully compliant with my citation, but I'm going to do that really quickly. And I'm also going to resize my image. And it's 9:12, so my time is getting limited, but I'm going to take this arrow tool, and I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to grab and flip it around. And I'm going to show you where I spend most of the time on the island. So this, I'm going to move that arrow right there. That's where the cottage is. And there's a nice little spit of beach that looks out over the Mackinac Bridge. So I'm going to add that in really quickly, and then that's going to be my drawing. So and for speed purposes, I won't get citation in there, but so the last thing, if you're going to play along with the challenge, make sure you go to the Share tab and get a shareable link and copy that link and go ahead and bring it back to our Quick Draw Challenge. So I'm going to give everybody a moment to throw their drawings into the Quick Draw Challenge, if you would. I see that Matt took me up on the challenge. And while people are putting those in there, would anybody like to enable their microphone or share something in the chat about their experience going with the drawing, or even watching me go through the drawing? I see that Elena said for Mac users, you have to hold the Option key if you're doing that copy feature. All right. People are putting their submissions in here. Thank you so much. I'm going to click on Matt's, and we're just going to go and take a look at some of these dream vacations. So Matt's dream vacation would be to go to Mars. I see that he has a Star Trek ship, and that he would be riding around on a Mars rover. Well done, Matt. Thank you. And let's take a look at Elena's.
Yeah, I like the template that he's created. If I found out quickly, I have to get option that man.
Oh wow, where's this? St. John.
Yeah, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, okay.
I got to actually visit for like 6 hours over Christmas break. It was amazing.
Wow.
I would go back and spend a month there.
Awesome.
Or, a week, that would be fine too.
Wow. So Rochelle would go to Tahiti. Look at that. Very cool. I like seeing the differences. This is what I kind of expected from this little interactive, is that the different tools and the different ways that people are sharing and showing where their dream vacation would be and how they did it is really different. I think that that's one of the things I like about Google Drawings, is that it can be very open-ended and let students express in a very personalized way. So thinking about ways of building relationships in classrooms at the beginning of the year and using Google Drawings as a way of letting students show us who they are and what they know. So, boy, you guys are all great participants. This is really nice to see all of these different. All right, another Mackinac Island fan. I believe that was Stephanie. Or was it Judy? Which one did I click on? Yeah, that was Judy. Anyone, feel free to enable your microphone as I'm going through these. What was your experience using the Google Drawing tools?
Actually uses Google Drawing quite a bit, and it is a little clunky, but the more time you spend in it, the more proficient you get using it. The problem I have a lot of time is actually getting a clear image out of Google Drawing. So being able to, when you download it as a PNG or a JPEG or whatnot, and then you insert it in another document, it tends to be grainy. So it's hard to get a real quality image out if that's your purpose.
So if you go and you do file and download as a PNG, your experience is that the final product's pretty grainy?
Yeah, especially depending on what you're doing with it. So if,
okay.
I mean, I did a test yesterday where I created something in Google Drawing and then downloaded it as a PNG and inserted it into a Google Doc and printed it up. And then I did the same thing where I created it in the Google Doc, printed up, and the one that was native in the Google Doc was significantly better image than the one I did in Google Drawing first.
Oh, that's interesting. So if you go to Insert Drawing and use the Google Drawing tools from inside a document,
No, opposite. I
okay.
just created like the piecemeal, like I used a table and actually put the images where I wanted.
Gotcha. And that one turned out better than if you insert a Google Drawing.
It did. It looked better.
Okay.
Now, I haven't done the Google Drawing directly inside the insert drawing that way. That was going to be next steps, but I ran out of time. So.
Okay. Anyone else want to share their experience with the Google Drawing tools?
I think my concern with some of my kids are, if you're in a document or a slide and you choose to insert a Google Drawing, it's only tied to that document. I really wish I could make a Google Drawing in Drive and then insert that one as a drawing too.
Yeah, being able to, if you make a Google Drawing, you can't go to the insert tools and find that from your drawing tools very easily. I agree.
Yeah, you have to download it as an image first to even use it if you started it in Drive.
Oh, there goes my browser. It crashed. I warned you this would happen, folks. So how are you handling that, Jeremy?
I like to make the drawings in drawing because then you can use it in any tool you want. But then the same thing, you have to go find it in your drive, download it, then insert it into your document. It'd be nice if you could go to Insert, Drawing, and find them all in your drive, but you just can't.
Yeah. All right. Well,
One thing that I've noticed, and I've been using the new Google Sites quite a bit recently. I wish they had some of those features built into it where, like in the new Google Sites, where you can just tap anywhere and it brings up that menu where, you know, you can insert photos and stuff. I keep finding myself trying to do that as I'm going through here, and it's just, it feels a little awkward that, you know, hopefully maybe in the future they'll integrate those new additions that they did with Sites on here because it would make the workflow a lot smoother.
yeah, that's a great point. It is interesting sometimes how Google sort of treats some of their different products and how they do or don't integrate in consistent ways across the different tools. All right, so I'm going to try to do this drawing really quickly for those of you who played along at home. And the winner of the first challenge is Stacy. All right, so thanks, Stacy. You're going to be one of the recipients of the $10 gift cards. So kind of moving along here, these two links, these presentations are just some suggestions. I mean, there's a million of them out there. I put them in there more as placeholders than anything because I'd really rather hear from you guys about some of the different applications. So going down here, I see that folks have been populating different ways that you are using Google Drawings right now, and I'd like to maybe kind of let folks talk about them. So Jessica, do you want to start with your first grade example, and would you want me to bring that up on the screen?
Yeah, that would be great if you could click on that.
Okay.
So this is actually in a Google slide. But what I did is I created the backgrounds in Google Drawing. So those shapes with 3 straight edge, shapes with 5 straight. And then I inserted that as the background so the kids can't delete that part. And so what they can do is you assign this to the kids as make a copy for each student, and then they can drag and drop the shapes into the categories. So first graders working on sorting can sort it out. And so this is a nice, quick, formative assessment. And then they can turn it back in Google Classroom. So go ahead and make a copy of that.
Okay.
Now, if I was doing this in Google Classroom, it would already have the copy made. So.
Right. And the part that you did in Google Drawings was
the background.
The
part
background
that's not there
here.
yet. Yep, not that part.
And
so now you can
over here. I can't move or manipulate that part of it.
You can only move the little squares.
Is it this part of the background that?
Yep. So where it says choose image, I chose the image.
Okay.
And when you're creating these, you have to make sure that your Google Drawing background is at the same dimensions as your slides presentation. Otherwise, they get a little discombobulated.
Okay.
And so anyways, the kids would just drag them there, and then they go back to Google Classroom, turn them in, and you have a real quick formative assessment for them.
That's great.
And I've seen teachers do this with phonics skills too, where they'll have different chunks, and the kids have to drag the blend in that appropriately matches. I've seen them do it with money, where they have to drag coins down to show how much money and make change, and lots of different uses for this. labeling diagrams. You know, if you have a cell or the water cycle, they can drag the labels around to label the drawing.
Great. So let's see, Stacy, you had some questions in here. Do you want to ask your questions to the group? In the chat, you mentioned that you have some questions about the docs, and also about deleting the background of a Google image within the drawing.
It looks like maybe her sound isn't working.
Okay.
Easy way to delete the background of a Google image within the drawing, is what she asked.
So sort of like a Photoshop style, removing portions of the background or cutting things out, I think maybe is. I'm not an expert on that part of it. I don't know if anybody has done much. I've seen some examples of that happening.
She just put a link into the chat as an example.
All right, let's just take a look at that, and then we'll see. Let's see. Can you change the permission on the link, Stacy? If not, that's okay. What I would do is we'll move on to, let's see, is it Rachel or Rochelle? Creating emergency building maps and creating a seating chart template and those examples. Would you like to talk a little bit about the example that you gave?
Yeah, so some of the secretaries at some of my buildings actually create the building emergency maps. So they'll like just make little boxes for each classroom and the layout of the school and label what teacher that is and use the arrows to show which doors they're exiting out of. Same thing for like seating charts. So they'll just create a blank template and then print those out. And then when they're changing their seating chart from month to month, they just write it in with pencil or they'll type it in later and print it out. So those are probably some of my favorite, most creative uses, but then we're also doing like learning games and like putting the food chain in order from top producer to, or top consumer to producer and things like that, labeling parts of the plant. Pretty similar to what she's doing with the shapes.
Okay. Great. Thanks for sharing those. Michelle, would you like to share what you had in the ideas area, especially around creating the comics and memes as exit tickets? I'd be curious to know how you've been using that.
Are you done with iPad? What time do you go till? What time do you go till? 3. Oh.
Hey, Amy, can you hear us?
Or, moving on, how about Cresta? Would you like to jump in and share? You've got a presentation that you shared in here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
My audio won't turn on.
Oh, no.
Can you get it now?
Is that Cresta that's
It is.
coming up? Okay.
I am sharing this on a Chromebook. And just to see the functionality, and my switching between the WebEx and Google stuff is slow.
If you want to stay in the WebEx, I can bring up, you know, I've got your link that you shared here, and if you want to talk about it.
Sure. So we started using Google Drawings in 2014, I think it was. So this is just a presentation from 2015 that I did for our county. And it was when it was new and we were kind of exploring, learning, reading, and collaborating with drawings. So each word has its own little, another link to another drawing. and there's just a ton of ideas in it. Some of them are outdated, and some of them are still usable. And then the second link that I shared, if you go back to the Google Doc, is more about templates. So Kit, earlier you said it's interesting how Google pays attention to some of their products and not other products and things like that. Well, right now, they're doing away with the template gallery. But what's awesome is if you go in there and you search around, you know, I spent like a half hour and I just looked through the thousands that I could. And if you say use this template that people have shared, it makes a copy for you in your drive. So like the Venn diagrams or any other manipulative type drawings that we've been doing, that Jessica showed, there's a lot made for you.
Yeah, and you know it is too bad, or it is a little confusing the way that Google's handling templates, and you know whether or not drawings will be available for the template gallery that they're kind of changing over to is kind of a question. It's not listed up here, that's for sure. And just so you guys know, the link that I shared here with the examples, like what Cresta just shared, is just a shared folder with lots of different templates in it. I liked the magazine cover template, and you know things like fact families, and some of similar to what Jessica was showing with some of the kind of virtual manipulative formative assessment checks. But there's a lot of different ideas in that link for people to share. So just similar to what Cresta was just showing, I've got that resource that I put in there. So let's see, who else do we have here who shared some ideas? So Elena, did you want to talk about chemical structures and how Google Drawings would allow you to do that?
Oh, I'm going to bore everyone to tears. No, just I don't have an example of it real quick, but there's just so many times where a chemical structure needed tweaking to some extent, or you wanted a student to fill in just one part of that structure, and you look online and they're all already JPEGs or PNGs of a complete structure. And so this was really nice to have students be able to like drag in certain parts of that structure and predict how they would change, or predict how the shape might change, that kind of thing. Really nice for chemistry.
Awesome. So I was looking at the example that Stacy shared, and I think what you've been asking is maybe how can you kind of cut or trim these out so that it's just the object and not quite as big or square. I don't know if anybody knows an easy way to do that. Does anybody know how to edit an image from within here so that you can kind of, you can do more than just cropping it?
You can crop to shapes. So if you click the little triangle next to the crop sign, you can crop it to circles or different shapes if that would make it more interesting. But you can't like just crop it to
like that.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't just take the background out.
Right. So that might be one part of a solution. I think about Pic Collage. Like we were doing an activity in a 4th grade classroom where students were going around and taking pictures of various things in the room, and then with Pic Collage they would just use a scissor tool to quickly kind of cut out the shape around that and sort of make it more like what the object was. And it was very intuitive and easy for students to use. And since our Chromebooks currently don't run the Android ecosystem, we don't have access to Pic Collage. So I'm trying to, similar to what Stacy's asking, I'd like to know how we can kind of create those same effects within Google Drawings. And if not, we can't always do it, so that's fine too. But so let's see, whose have we not looked at that yet? Judy, you shared book snaps. So let's take a look at this example. And if you want to talk about it, Judy, you can jump on the mic. And I'll reopen my browser since it keeps crashing. So I like the example that Judy shared. This is pretty interesting. Kind of taking a picture of the text, doing some annotation of it, and then adding some features to it. I can think of some different ways that could be an interesting activity in the classroom. So thanks for sharing that example. Let's see here. I'm going to close a couple of these tabs just to make it so that my computer isn't completely bogged down. And since I'm not really sure what's been crashing my browser. So some of the other examples that folks shared, if I get down here on our list. Thanks for your patience, everybody. We're almost back. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Stephanie, I'm wondering if the resource that you linked here is the same one that I had, or if it's different. I apologize that things are kind of loading a little slow. Yep, this is the same folder that I shared too, so that's a good resource. And then Jeremy, you mentioned that you're doing badges. Do you want to just mention how you were doing the badges?
Sure, yeah. For my staff, I tried to have a little fun and do a tech challenge where they had to complete a challenge every week, and the reward, because we all love stickers and badges so much, was a little badge. So I made them in drawing, and they got a digital copy of it, so I just basically shared the drawing with them. But I also printed them off in little stickers and stuck them on scoreboards. And it was like having a building full of 5-year-olds because they were all competing for the stickers. I mean, everybody loves stickers. You can't help it.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to do in drawing with the way you make circle shapes and everything. It was just super simple.
Right. We are just now kind of piloting. We're going to use Moodle to do these very small kind of micro-learning lessons. And at the end of it, when you complete the lesson and do the small reflection exit activity, then you'll get a badge from that. So I was using Canva, but I think I might try it with Google Drawings just to challenge myself, because I'm still trying to get more comfortable with the Google Drawings environment. So that'll be a way for me to do that.
If you make stickers, they'll fight for them, trust me.
There we go. We're making more stickers. All right, so I'm going to do the drawing for our Share a Resource Challenge. Thanks to everyone who threw something in there. Great examples. And the winner is... All right, so Matt.
Didn't share a resource, isn't that
I
right?
know, I put your name in there. Do you want to be the winner, or do you want me to?
You should let someone else win.
All right, we're deleting you from the list and we're redrawing. Matt, you're so honest, and here we go. The real winner is
Whoever's below Krista.
All right. Elena, you were the winner. All right. So, oh, Steve's sharing something as we speak. So be sure to pop that link in there. The most important part about, this session and everything, we could probably talk about this a lot, and these links as a record of our conversation and what people were able to try and do, and this recording will give other people in our METS group the opportunity to continue to learn and grow. And I'm optimistic that Google, as they really seem to go all in on education with their Chromebook environment, and also with the touch screens that are coming to the Chromebooks in the next generation of devices, that maybe Google Drawings will get a bump soon. I mentioned in my notes up here that one thing about Google Drawings right now that's a little strange is that it does not work with touch screens. And so as we're looking at our one-to-one implementation, I do want to help teachers and students use Google Drawings more, but I think one of the concerns I have is that if we go with some touchscreen Chromebook devices, that there will be a frustration that you can't use the monitor to do some of those natural and intuitive drawings, and that a different drawing tool online will somehow have more appeal, but then we lose that option of using Google Classroom to distribute the assignment and collect it easily. And how are we going to work between those third-party drawing tools versus working with something within our G Suite? So I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts about that aspect of Google Drawings, or other tips and tricks that you've learned as you've been going along, like the fact that it doesn't work with touchscreens. So Steve, you just picked this one up off of Twitter this morning, and do you want to talk about it for a second?
Yeah, I had remember seeing that this morning when I had logged into Twitter and scrolling through my news feed, and that, then when you start talking about drawings and infographics and stuff like that, I was like, wow, that would be a really cool thing to kind of recreate or design. That would be just a neat thing for a social studies lesson or a civics lesson where, kind of what are the checks and balances, or, what's that relationship between the three branches, or, something along those lines. And I just thought that would be kind of a cool thing, and, have the students create and be an easy way to do it.
Fantastic. I'm going to put a note here under the tips and tricks, that the one that Jessica shared about making a Google drawing the background of a Google slide. To create a permanent, I'll finish typing it in there, but if anybody else has some tips like that, I hadn't thought about the fact that when you give students these sort of drag and drop environments, and you want to not let them be able to drag everything, using that background feature as a way of locking something in is a good tip. So does anybody else have any other tips as we're kind of wrapping up today? Does anybody know how to spell permanent? All right.
I just really appreciate all the great ideas for using with students. I feel like so often I think of it as a productivity thing, and I just love seeing all the different ideas to do with students. It's got my brain working.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool, and I think that if it changes over time, or even if it doesn't, how do we continue to share good strategies for doing Google Drawings with students. So to wrap up, we'll do the final drawing. If you got your name in there, then you'll be part of the drawing. Although I think, would it be fair to say that we should take Stacy and Elena out so that they don't win two?
Yes, take me out.
What do you think, Stacy? I hope you don't mind. If I know you aren't able to get into the audio, but if you don't mind, we'll do the drawing for just the random one without the previous winners. All right, Stacy says that's fine. So here we go. And the winner is... Oh, Matt, I almost thought that was karma, that it was coming back to you. But it's Steve. Steve, you are the winner. So I want to thank everyone. Stacy and Elena and Steve, and Elena, I realize this is kind of pointless, but if you guys would just throw your emails underneath the winner part so that I can give that information to Kelly, and then she's going to email you your virtual gift card for that. And I want to thank all of you for coming and joining me on Win, Lose, or Draw. I hope you took away something new, and if you were sharing something and were able to share your expertise with the group, I'm also really grateful for you taking the time to share that with the rest of us so that we all have new ideas. I know I took away some new information. So I need coffee, and I need to use the restroom. And so I'm going to use this little break time, and don't forget to go back to the main dashboard to get to whatever room you're going to go and visit next.
Thank you, Kit.
Yeah,
You
thanks,
wrap.
guys. All right, I'm going to stop the recording here.